What happens most of the time in these IMOs is like, no, just follow the script,
Yeah.
do what you're told, success leaves clues.
Most people aren't really living an intentional life.
Even if you never make any money, quote unquote, at least you're gonna feel better off as far as the education that you've gotten with money to improve your life.
Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? My name is Matt Branch, and this is Chris Kirkpatrick.
In case you didn't know.
And I'm taking over his show because I'm quite seriously thinking you lied about your height.
No.
Just kidding.
Oh, this guy.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to let you take over the video.
Do the intro.
Fun fact. This is the second recording because this guy decided to move his life to the Dominican Republic.
And I can't get my vibe board
just
set up
hosted
right.
this amazing retreat. But yet, there's a mess of cords right here.
Because the studio's kind of in shambles. But it looks good, right? It looks good from the outside.
It looks really good. Like when you see this, I mean, right now, what time is it?
It's like 10:30 at night.
It's 10:30.
Yeah.
But
and there's a massive like Caribbean tropical thunderstorm cell coming over us, and you might see lightning storms in the background. It's going to be cool. But today, what we're talking about. Because we just, like he said, we just got done the Life 180 Mastermind. This dude's flying out tomorrow morning. He stayed a little extra long after a lot of the other participants from the retreat left. He stayed longer. We kept like just talking about business and strategies and content and you know all the things. He's going through some awesome stuff. Yeah. Good stretching, growth. Awesome stuff.
Some growing pains.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's pains.
It's actually not. I'm super excited about what we're doing. We'll chat about it in the video.
But here's the deal. I want to talk this video about what does it take to succeed and what's holding agents back, right? Like more specifically, let's talk about what's holding people back because I think we're going to talk about some things that are going to have an impact, right? They're going to have an impact on kind of maybe you're going to hear something that you resonate with and you're like, holy crap, that's me, that's why I'm not succeeding. In this retreat, I think people came down here and we had different levels of like success ranges of agents here. Some people were brand new, some were more seasoned. We had one guy who's been in the business for 20 years, wildly successful.
Crazy story. Is that Matt?
No, that's Richard.
Oh, and Richard, great, yeah, we love Richard.
So, you know, Richard has been successful for 20 years, but he just wanted to start doing more stuff online, and he wanted to get really, like, in tune with, you know, all the teachings that we had going on. And some people were brand new and really looking, you know, they're only part-time, and they're looking to figure out how to build their brand and how to scale this slowly and do it in a responsible way so they're not, you know, shortchanging all their friends and family.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That said, you know, I guess I'll say this first, is when we're talking about the retreat and everybody's experience, my biggest takeaway is funny because I thought, I started, actually, I'd be curious to get your feedback on this because we haven't talked about this part yet. So when I created the itinerary for the retreat, and it was all about marketing and sales and presentations and funnels and email sequences and text message sequences and communication and all these different things, which are all very important. And at this stage of my career and life, as much as I love all that stuff, it's kind of like riding a bike. And I love teaching it. You know, I love helping people with it. And my favorite stuff is like the personal growth, the stuff that stretches us. And like that's what I live, and that's why I moved where I am. And that's where, you know, when you live in this environment, you can't help but like be surrounded by people that stretch you. And so we put some stuff on the itinerary, and we had some stuff that wasn't even on the itinerary that just kind of organically happened. And people were kind of brought into my world. And I honestly was not sure how it would be received.
I'm super happy of how it all went, to be honest. It's really awesome.
And what I got out of it was how important all that self-work is, all that internal work was, right?
I'm sure it was. It was good.
For me, it was the stuff I was nervous about sharing because it's, you know, like, I don't know the words, but like woo-woo, right? Like, you know, and honestly, people have to be willing to get outside of their comfort zones.
Especially in this business, right? Like, you know, we got the guys who are like, all I want to do is work 12 hours a day and nothing else, grind. Which, I mean, it does work. It does work, but I think, you know, going back to core values, it's, you know, it's much more about how you work.
So let's talk about that for a sec. So before we get into all the other stuff, I got some stuff I want to share. But I want to hear from you. Like, what is your take on, all right, why? Because you're young, right?
I'm only 12 years old.
Yeah, I met him when he was 18. He's 21 now. He's a monster. Yeah. He's a mountain of a human being. But like, but at the same time, he's only 21. He's been in business for 3 years, and he's had a lot of success.
Yeah.
And that said, you know, it didn't come easy.
No.
And if you were to talk to him 3 years ago and told him where you'd be now, I think he probably wouldn't believe you. You know, and which is great, right? And so I would love to hear from you as somebody, because I'm so far removed of being new in the business.
Yeah.
Like from your perspective, you can probably still remember the real feeling, like actually like the real emotion. You could probably, you know, scroll through your screenshots of your bank account not being so big, and then, you know, like all that kind of stuff,
has happened,
right? Like for me, that was all too long ago.
Yeah.
And so for you, it was just like, you know, within the past couple of years. So talk about like, why do you think people, you know, struggle? And for you specifically, what were your self-limiting beliefs that had you, that maybe made it take a little longer for you to succeed?
So just going back to it, because I know we just recorded this content, number one thing comes to my head is the fact that I didn't believe in what I was selling, and I didn't even believe in the team. Going back to the retreat, Chris is exactly the way he comes across on camera, like in person. The team that he's built is just all moving with the same momentum in the same direction. No matter which way they're going, they all have that same mentality and the exact same core values. And it's not just BS, right? Like there's a bunch of, you know, teams out there say our core values, but no, you guys really mean what you say. And I think it all comes from social media content creation, what you're doing and driving and attracting, rather than trying to go out there and call 500 people a day and not having the right systems in place. So going back to it, definitely having a team that supports you in the right direction, and having your values in line for sure. That's kind of my biggest thing, and I think a lot of people who are watching it from different companies are like, "Well, I've been, you know, promised all these things."
But it's about KPIs, man.
Yeah, it's all about KPIs. Yeah, no.
Gotta hit the KPIs.
Yeah.
No. Oh, okay. No. Okay, that's not what
only
it's all about.
I think only one person will understand that, and he's probably not going to watch this video. So he doesn't really care.
So one of the things I think is really important. We talked about it at the retreat a lot, and I gave everybody a 12 or 13 page workbook. To go through, and it was all about creating your core values, coming up with a mission statement and a vision statement. And the reason I think is this is so hard to film a video for the second time in a row, because it's like, what do we talk about? What do we not talk about?
Well, we're still doing it.
But here we go. This is why we just do this anyway. Because I think this is so powerful. I talk about a book a lot because to me it's one of the most impactful books I've ever read. It's called The Ant and the Elephant by Vincent Pacenti. And in the book, Vincent talks about this study that was done and scans of the human brain. And so he says, like, what happens is we as human beings, we always want to white knuckle it. We want to consciously just plow through things. I want to work out harder. I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to go on that diet. I'm going to save money. I'm going to make a budget. I'm going to do all these things, right? And so what happens is all these New Year's resolutions fail within like 2-3 weeks. And why is that? It's because there's a science behind it. It's not just like you're lazy. It's that there's a science behind it. And so what happens is when you make a conscious decision, science says your brain is firing off at 4 million neurons a second. Right? Sounds impressive. So when your subconscious brain is operating, it's firing off at 4 billion neurons a second. So what does that mean? In the book, he uses an analogy, basically saying, and it's a fable, and it's a really, really impactful book. But it's basically the equivalent. 4 million compared to 4 billion. It's the equivalent of an ant sitting on the head of an elephant, thinking it has the ability to steer that elephant. Right? So think about it this way. If your conscious decisions are an ant, your subconscious is an elephant. Okay? And so it's insane to think that your subconscious or that your conscious is going to override and just control your subconscious. It's not possible. So what do you do? If you're a new agent in the business and you want to help people, you want to make money, you know, through the process of adding value into people's lives and helping them, what do? You have to control your subconscious. You have to get your actions and your beliefs in alignment with your subconscious.
Right? You have to raise your frequency. What happens? Like, how do you feel about selling this product? Is this something you would do yourself, essentially? And that's a big component to the IBC space, to especially the index universal space, because why are we selling that product?
Yeah.
Why? Are you selling it? Or, you know, like,
I would argue anytime you have people get a little skeezed out.
Right.
Because whenever there's a sales presentation where you have to sell a specific product on a specific thing, it's never about the client. It's always about you trying to sell them into your thing versus having a process that's trying to just educate people, get people to think critically. In sales, there's definitely, influence, I would say.
You have to be an influencer.
And there's guiding people. But I would say you can't sell people life insurance. You have to guide people down a path of self-discovery and educate them and get them to ask critical questions to themselves to see how they feel about it. And to me, like as an agent, and what I'm, putting this whole process together on the spreadsheet or the workbook that we're doing, to me, you as an agent have to have your core values figured out. You have to know what your vision is. What do you want your business to be? What impact on the people do you want to make? What's your mission in life? And then guide your clients to think about the same thing. Because if they don't do that, well, guess what? There's always going to be buyer's remorse, right? Now, what we do is not the easiest thing to do. If you want to be an amazing life insurance agent, you can't just learn a sales presentation on a PowerPoint.
It's really hard.
And believe me, all the WFG agents out there in the world that get really good at selling on PowerPoint presentations, they make money for a minute. And then they get with a client on a call with me, and they can't defend the IUL because they don't even understand how it works.
It's just the presentation that they know. And the objection from that presentation, but nothing else.
Nothing. And so therefore, it all breaks down. And at the end of the day, phonies get exposed. Frauds get exposed.
We know that.
Right? And so that's the case. And so what's going to happen is those people are going to maybe have a good minute, right? They'll have a good couple years, but eventually the principles of that are not long lasting. And so, we're talking about this business where 93% of agents fail. And I think the reason they fail is because there's very little trust, right?
100%.
Because they're not necessarily clear on what their core values are.
Have no idea.
But what happens is they get in, they didn't make a decision based on core values to join the team they're on, to get in the company they're with.
They just got sold they're going to make a bunch of money.
Right. So because of that, they get in not led by their core values, but led by a dream of making money, right? And so then they get in, and then they realize that the process and the strategies and the communication and all these different things are out of alignment with their core values, and they don't even know what their core values are, so they don't know it, and their subconscious is fighting them, and this is why they fail. That's why 93% of people fail. So if we lead with our core values, and if we're really clear on that, and we let that be the thing that pulls us, and then we try to look at life insurance as something that we either believe in and can get behind and are passionate about, which, by the way, is one of my favorite reasons that I love agents to go part-time first, because it's don't commit to this fully until you're able to do it for yourself and able to believe in it to the level that you're doing it, and you could just be excited about sharing it with people.
There's a guy that we were with, he's making way above average income.
10x.
And he's acting like he can't go in, he's still building his business on the side. When there's also people who are trying to sell you the wrong product, who've just been told to go sell their friends and family, who are all in. This is all they have. Who would you trust more? The guy making $300,000 a year doing this part-time, who knows what he's talking about or is trying to level up, or the guy who is just trying to sell you and is making $500 a month? Right? Who would you trust more?
Yeah, totally, man.
It's a total difference when you approach it that way. So it's really good to know who you're working with first as an agent, right? So remember when we were going back during the retreat when we were asking you said it on the live stream, right? You should be asking your agents question. If you're client facing, the client should learn how to ask the agent proper questions, because they might show up in a tuxedo, they might show up looking good, but it's a thin layer of ice when it breaks through, and you realize how they don't know nothing. And that's what I realized when I worked at, I don't want to say it because I know I'm not supposed to say specific companies, but I mean, even the most recent one, there's things I would ask, or there's presentation I would attend where I've done the work, where I know the answer, and these people who are above me as a leadership position, they don't know anything.
Don't know the answers.
They don't know the answer, and it's this is the insurance industry as a whole. This is like those companies that we talk about all the time where there's just such a thin layer of ice that you just crack it a little bit and it just exposes everything that they truly are.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. To me, I think it's not funny, obviously, for the client, but
no,
it's funny how
it's ironic.
It's very ironic.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like it's interesting to me because when you're looking at making a decision as to, all right, is this good to work with or not? Like, should I go down this path? Should I utilize life insurance as an asset in my life? You can go work with somebody who's working full time and struggling, or work with somebody who's part time who doesn't need it. And the argument would be, why would I want to do this to somebody part time? Well, absolutely, 10 out of 10 times that's what I would do if I'm compared to somebody who's struggling full time, because the struggling full-time person is going to have, there's a moral hazard built into that process, right?
It's a survival decision that they're selling you.
And that's not me putting any judgment on them, because it's just human psychology. They're going to survive.
Yeah, we understand that. Yeah.
And I'm not being critical. It's just human nature. And so, I think that's important. But it comes back to the speed of trust, right? Like, so when we talk about, Stephen Covey's book, The Speed of Trust, and then we talk about Vincent Pacenti's book, The Ant and the Elephant, and the power of the subconscious mind. And then you get on a team that you're not in alignment with core values, and then they're talking and training, and you're like, wait a minute, you want me to make a list of my friends and family, and I'm still going through the licensing process. You want me to start the sales process with them, and you want me to recruit people, and like,
do you think you're going to be putting 100% effort into that? Like, that's like the first. Like, do you think if you're questioning this, you're going to be able to put 100% effort in?
Yeah.
You're not going to be, going to even if you just put 3 hours a day in something you fully believe, you're going to make a bigger impact, anyways.
I'm a big believer in the phrase, you got to be willing to go slow to go fast, and that's not a very popular mindset in the insurance business.
Dopamine. Gratitude.
Not only that, because it doesn't make money fast. Like, if I'm your upline, right? Most people are going to have you come in and be like, hey, like I would bring Matt in as my downline and be like, here's the deal, man. We got to get you making money, because the only way I make money is for you to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. That's the way this business works.
The leaders need you to make money so they can make money.
That's it.
Not train you long term and to do the right thing.
And listen, I have no problem with the fact that if Matt needs to make money, then we need to help Matt make money. But we need to help Matt make money by adding value to people. And the only way Matt's going to really be able to add value to people is not to come in and just learn a sales presentation and close deals. It's going to be to come in, sit down with people, work with me because he trusts me. And if he doesn't trust me, he shouldn't work with me. Work with me because he trusts me, and sit down with the clients and then have a question. We work it together, right? And then when we're done, Matt can come across and be like, all right, Chris, you said this at this point, this at this point. Here's a presentation. Here's what you walked them through. Here are the questions you asked them. Why did you ask them this then? Why did you ask them that at that point in time? Like, and we can have, that's what mentorship is about, right? And so we can learn on the fly, and that's what builds trust. What happens most of the time in these IMOs is like, no, just follow the script, do what you're told, success leaves clues, the success is in the system, secrets in the system. No, because if you're selling this system, you're not selling, you're not really trying to serve, you're just trying to sell, and you're not even understanding exactly what you're selling at this point in time, because typically you're selling an IUL, which is,
You can't sell this like a window cleaning service, right? Like, because obviously windows are different, right? But what I mean, what I mean by that is, like, you go door knocking and you expect everyone's window, you have the same process, which is just totally backwards. That's not how the clients work. Each client has a specific different situation, and often the advisor, the agent, pushes their beliefs onto the client rather than seeing the client's beliefs, seeing how you could change those limiting the beliefs sometimes with the client and what the product can do for them, rather than shoving it in their face and saying, you want to be a real estate investor, whole life, boom. You want to have upside potential, you need to get into universal life, right? Like stuff like that. That just doesn't work anymore. You need to attract rather than push. And attracting is where I think most people fail in the industry, because they don't have systems in place. Right? You have systems in place. We learned about funnels, marketing, all this jazz. He has a team of just people dedicated to that. The reason why you've had success and why other companies that I've been a part of haven't had success is not because they didn't have it in place. They didn't understand funnels. They didn't understand attraction rather than pushing for the client to the sale. Pushing the sale is what I mean. So I think understanding the type of content you're creating, because I know that we had that discussion one-on-one or one-on-three there, where it's like, there's so much misleading content out there where you're just trying to get that sale again, and it goes back to, are you aligning with your belief systems? Most people aren't. Most people aren't really living an intentional life. So once you switch that, you will not make money right away, but long term, you're going to feel better right away. I can tell you that. Right away, you'll feel better. And in return, you'll make more money. Or you'll live a very happy life knowing you're going to do the right thing. Or there's also evil people out there who feel fine sleeping with doing the wrong thing.
Here's what I know. With 93% of agents failing, what's happening is a lot of those people that are failing are damaging a lot of close relationships in their life. Right?
So when they fall, remember your family, they're like, yo.
There's an aftermath, right? And most of the time your friends and family will forgive you, but it comes at a cost.
It does.
And so from my belief and my philosophy is, if somebody joins Life 180, I don't care if they sell anything. Because 2 years from now, even if they never sell anything, because let's face it, sometimes people are just not designed to be salespeople.
They're not good.
Right? They're not good. And they're never going to be good, but you can get better than where you are. And if we can teach you the information you need, at least it will help your life. So my goal is, even if you never make any money, quote unquote, at least you're going to feel better off as far as the education that you've gotten with money to improve your life. And that to me is the philosophy, and my mindset is like, if I have 700 agents is about where we are, and it's like, if 150 of those agents are really crushing it, cool. 100 of them crushing it, cool. And maybe 50, 100 doing okay. And which is, by the way, that's about what the statistics are in this business. If you got like 80% of them are not going to do much, maybe one policy a year, maybe whatever, which guess what? Most people would rip on that. I would rather you take a year or two at one policy a year doing very little, and as long as you're committed to growing yourself. Now, can you do that if you're doing it full time? Heck no, you can't. You have to have some money coming in so you can survive. So you have two options. You either work part-time, or you find a mentor that you trust and you work a system with them and you let them work deals with you and teach you on the fly. By the way, that is the best way to do it. Hands down.
Hands down,
The challenge is not everybody's willing to do that. Not everybody's flexible enough. Not everybody wants to get coached in that fashion. And I can tell you this, it can be done over Zoom meetings. It can be done virtually. It does not need to be done belly to belly, even though that's the way I learned when I got into the business. And I can tell you it was invaluable. At the end of the day, I look at it through the lens of, that is anytime you can get the repetitions in and you can have the conversations and you get the real life examples, that beats watching a training video 100% of the time.
The first couple ones of my deals, it wasn't like a WFG type of style where it's like, just watch me and they just go through the same. It was really dynamic where my mentor in the industry were doing corporate policies for my first couple policies. And because I had my social medias coming, and that leads me into another thing, which is like, if you can attract leads, that's the biggest thing in the industry. The reason why people fail is leads. So I don't get why all these agents are trying to do the same old system.
I disagree with that. You want to know what I think? And my wife will attest to this. The biggest problem people have is not knowing how to communicate about the product well enough. Because I can tell you this, if I never had another online lead, I could still make a living in this business.
It goes back to Alex Ramosey's talk.
Just going, know enough. So my thing is, you need to become a master of the product. Not because I want to nerd out about the product and be like, you know why you need a life insurance policy? It's because of the ledger and because like you can control the banking function in your life and all these different things. It's not what it's about.
But he is one.
Understand, I am a nerd. But that's not how I sell. Because people don't make decisions logically where the nerd lives. They make it emotionally where the heart lives. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out what are the problems in their life. And we got to just engage with people, not sell to people, truly connect with people and engage with people. And you have to master your product knowledge to the point where it's seamless that when I hear, your spidey senses have to go off, right? And when you hear them go, this is a problem for me, or this is what I'm going through in my business, this is what I'm going through.
The objection.
And I go, oh, well, talk to me about that, right? Like, why is that a challenge for you? Why are you struggling with this? What's going on? Like, what would success look like for you in that
That's
area?
a hard way to do it though. A lot of agents out there, they want. Imagine if there's a way for you to get leads and learn from those leads coming in, and instead of screwing over the client and not knowing what you're talking about. Imagine if you had a Chris Kirkpatrick in your call, right? Sure. And so when you generate the systems, like you have leads coming in, and you see him, take a 20% split. He gets 20%, you get 80. Or like maybe something like that.
I'll do that.
That's fine, right? Because now your mentor's still getting a lead that you didn't have. That's kind of how I started, because I didn't want to do like the old school insurance where I'm like calling and you're doing all that. And I think that served me well. You got to kind of get creative a little bit. And a lot of agents fail because they're not willing to do those first pieces of content. Because that limiting belief where it's like, oh no, this won't work. All it takes is one, guys. All it really does take is one piece of content to blow up.
It is true.
I agree in terms of like, you can't be...
Except YouTube. YouTube's a bit more of a grind.
Yeah, YouTube's definitely a grind. But TikTok's instant... If you want instant gratification, there's probably a bunch of young guys on here. Instagram Reels, TikTok, go for it. But
you can have much faster success, but the quality is going to be far lower for the most part, on average. Not to say that you can't get good quality leads.
Yeah, like I have had good, very high quality leads. But it depends on how you have to be specific on who you want to target. You have to know your niche. You have to know. But yeah, we're digressing. I think it all comes down. We've digressed this whole entire video. That's the funny thing. The first video was definitely on point. But yeah, how do we get back to the conversation?
No, I mean, I think it's just a matter of like if you're going to get into the business and you want to have control of your own success. And I think. In order to be in control of your own success, you got to align your practice with your core values. That's where you got to lead from. And that starts with, I look at values as a way, like a filter that I flow all my decision making through. And it's like, all right, what products am I going to sell? And if it's really in alignment with my core values, that means I'm going to be using them in my life. That means I can talk about them and share them. It means when I'm running my core values, the decision through my core values, like who am I working with? What's the company that I'm working with? Are they in alignment with who I am and how I want to show up in the world? Like all those things. And I'm telling you right now, that sounds really simple, but if you do those things, if you just get that right, everything else will come into alignment. You'll start to live in a little bit more flow, and deals will just start to come. You'll be more comfortable. You'll be more fluid. You'll start talking with more ease. You'll start having more trust. So it's not like when you're new, the hardest part is like imposter syndrome. Yeah,
you have to be someone who you're not right now because it's a new thing that you're learning.
So when you work with somebody that you truly trust, that you could be like, I don't know it all, but this is the person that taught me, and I believe in it so much that that's what I'm doing. So I just want to share it with you, and whether it's right for you or not. Like, I think it'd worth at least having a conversation. Kind of deal?
I have case studies all the time. Even now, Rick, I've been in the business. I'm still rookie, I believe. I'm still learning to this day. But when it comes to taxation and accounting, and a client asks me this stuff, especially being in Canada, taxation is a whole different world, right? So I'm never afraid to say, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to get you in touch with someone who does, and he'll be in the meeting making sure we navigate this proper way. Every time.
And now you're a resource.
And you get looked at as a hero in the client's eyes because they're going to come back for everything to you, and they're going to refer people to you because they're like, wow, this guy actually provided value. And people can tell when you're BSing them. And I had a guy after that, after the meeting, he's like, I connected with one of my mentors. He's like, I'm really appreciative that Matt decides, he's not worried to ask for help. And people appreciate that, right?
That is so accurate. So many new life insurance agents fail because they're trying to do it all on their own. There's a great book called Who Not How, and we talk about it in a lot of other contexts. But so many new life insurance agents, rather than saying, hey, I know who can help you, and you be the connector, and you utilize your superpower of building your own network and your own team of people.
It's super cool.
You come in egotistically, and your own ego and maybe pride and maybe the fact that you don't want to split a commission gets in your way. So rather than think of who, you're going, here's how I can help you. Here's this, here's that. Like, no, get out of how you can help them and think, who do you know in your network, on your team, that you can split a deal with, that can help them, and you will learn in that process. Education is not free. You're going to pay for it one way or the other, whether it's through not getting a deal and not getting paid, or paying to go to a training, paying for endorsements, paying for
split.
certifications and going through spending your time, or you're going to pay for splits and get mentored on the fly, which is the best way.
It's 100% the best way, guys. And if you're not doing that, I don't know. If you're new and you're not aligning with your current company, I think you need to get out at all costs. It's going to cost you relationships. It's going to cost you your mentality. You're going to be like, what the heck am I doing? I don't even align with this stuff. You got to get on a team, or go in, if you're experienced, go independent. But if you're on a team, you have to be 100. You got to trust your mentors and people who are leading you 100%, and you have to align with them. Like if they're in a call, like I've been in a company where I'm sitting down with the same guy and I'm like listening to them, like this is not even the right information, right? And and they're trying to sell off status symbols, and it's like, no way this is happening. Someone who's like the highest person in the company, like it just goes to show how fragile people are. Like when you just remove that layer of skin, right?
Totally.
And it's just be aware, guys. You got to be aware. And most people fail because they're not self-aware of themselves. They don't even know who they are. And how do you expect to guide a client if you don't even know who you are? You're going to come across much more trustworthy when you know who you are. I know exactly who I am. Go watch the first video on Life 180. Look at how much I've changed in terms of how I speak, how I arrive.
I'll put it on the end screen. You can watch it.
And first of all, I didn't start out by making money. I had become someone who I didn't. But I did that by joining the trainings, letting people take deals from me, and watching how they go. Now splitting deals.
And in fairness, some of the like you mentioned, you had some bad experiences with companies, but you had some good people, good experiences as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just take those and learn from them. And don't give up on the first or second. Don't just think. This might be for you, and learn how to cut it loose, because there's too many people in the industry who are just wandering, and it's time to move on to the next. Don't feel bad. Move on to the next business model. We have too many people doing the wrong things anyways in the industry.
No, totally. There's no doubt. So what else we got? I think that's it.
That's
it. So hopefully you found value in that, guys. If you did, this guy's from Canada. If you're up in Canada and you're watching this and you want to connect, get More Money Matt here. Whether you're in Canada or the US, go to his YouTube channel, subscribe, do all that stuff. If it's your first time here, subscribe, hit the bell, give this video a share, like it, get it out there, all that stuff. Love to have you. We launch training video. I think some of the best training on YouTube for the life insurance business out there. But it's been awesome having you here, man.
Take a look at the merch.
Oh yeah, look at this.
I'm super proud of this, actually. Super cool.
That's what's up.
Love it.
Everybody at the retreat got one of these.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of exclusive.
You got to come to the next one. We're going to be doing one, I think, in September, 4 months from now.
Cool.
So in the next week, I'm going to finalize the date. We're going to start promoting it. And I really got a lot of clarity on this one.
Yeah.
Because this one we threw together kind of last minute in like a month notice, and it was just totally last minute. And I just felt like I was born to do it. It was just so much fun.
So good. Guys,
so much
I
fun.
couldn't recommend it enough, and I'm not trying to put a testimonial here, but you guys got to get here if you guys are kind of stuck where you're at, or you're looking to expand. No matter where you're at, you might be just beginning. This is kind of the place to kind of level up.
So if you're thinking about it and you're interested, just email Chris@life180.com and just title the subject Mastermind and let me know that you're interested, and I'll put you on the list to notify you when we get that one all settled up, because we are limiting it to about 20 people, because it's just the space we have, and we want to keep it very personalized and high touch. That's what it's all about. So,
alrighty,
that's it. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. Later.